A cold morning and a heavy heart. Winter mornings in Minnesota were always harsh, but today felt even colder than usual. The wind cut through the air like knives, and snow covered everything in sight. Jennifer Brown pulled her coat tighter around her as she hurried across the icy parking lot after finishing her night shift at St. Mary's Hospital. Her feet crunched through the snow, and her breath came out in little white clouds. She reached her old, reliable car, started the engine, and waited as the heater slowly warmed up. The clock on the dashboard blinked 7 a.m. She frowned. She had to get home fast. If she didn't, her 12-year-old son, Aiden, might be late for school again. Life had never been easy for Jennifer. She lived in a small, quiet town called Willowbrook, where everyone knew everyone else's business. She was a nurse, working long and tiring shifts, and she was raising her son all on her own. There was no one else to depend on. Her life was like a never-ending race, between work, home, and making sure Aiden had everything he needed. When she got home, Aiden was already sitting at the kitchen table, slowly stirring his cereal. His brown hair was getting a little too long, falling into his big brown eyes. "Mom," he said, his voice full of hope, "can you come to my basketball game today?" Jennifer's heart sank. She hated saying no, especially to Aiden. "I'm really sorry, sweetheart," she said softly, brushing a hand through his hair. "I've got another shift this evening, but I asked Coach Jim to record it, so we can watch it together later." Aiden shrugged, trying to act cool. "It's okay, Mom, I understand," but she could hear the sadness in his voice, even though he quickly smiled again. "I'm gonna make a three-pointer today, just wait and see." Jennifer smiled, proud of him. Aiden had always been strong and kind. He never knew his father. When Jennifer told her boyfriend Daniel she was pregnant, he panicked and left, saying he wasn't ready to be a dad. Since then, it had just been the two of them, Jennifer and Aiden against the world. Just then, the phone rang. Jennifer looked at the screen and sighed. It was her mother, Martha. "Good morning, Mom," she said, trying to sound cheerful. "Jennifer, you didn't answer your phone yesterday," Martha said sharply, skipping any kind of greeting. "I was working the night shift," Jennifer replied, already bracing herself. "I need to talk to you about Brittany's wedding," Martha said, ignoring the excuse. "I'm finalizing the invitation list. You and Aiden are coming, right?" "Yes, of course," Jennifer answered, looking out the frosty window. "I just need to check my shifts and—" "This is your sister's big day, Jennifer," Martha cut in. "It's once in a lifetime. She's marrying Robert Carter. He's a famous architect, and Brittany is finally starting a perfect life. It's a very important event for our family." Jennifer bit her tongue. Her mother always made sure to remind her of how perfect Brittany was. Brittany, the golden child. Brittany, the successful one. Brittany, who had never really needed to work hard for anything. Martha, who owned a fancy clothing store in town, cared deeply about appearances. Her voice always had a sharp edge, like she was judging everything and everyone, especially Jennifer, the daughter who hadn't lived up to expectations. "We'll be there, Mom," Jennifer said quietly. "Make sure Aiden dresses properly," Martha continued. "The Carter family is very refined. We don't want any awkwardness." Jennifer nodded even though her chest tightened. She knew what Martha meant. She always made it clear that Jennifer, a single mother with a child whose father disappeared, was something to be ashamed of. Meanwhile, Brittany could do no wrong. Martha had spoiled her from the beginning. Brittany had studied accounting and now worked at a fancy hotel as a manager. Everything in her life was neat and shiny. "There's a wedding committee meeting this Thursday," Martha added. "You should be there too." "I'm working Thursday, and Aiden has a parent-teacher conference." "You always have an excuse, don't you?" Martha sighed heavily. "Brittany asked you to be her bridesmaid, and you can't even show up to one meeting. Do you know how hurt she is?" Jennifer clenched her jaw. That wasn't true. Brittany hadn't asked her to be a bridesmaid. She had asked her friends from high school instead. But Martha always twisted things. In her eyes, Jennifer was the one who didn't care, the one who wasn't good enough. "I'll try to change my shift," Jennifer said quietly, even though she knew it would be hard. When the call ended, Jennifer stayed still, leaning against the kitchen counter. She stared at the clock. Her next shift wasn't for hours, but her mind was already tired. Every time the family spoke these days, it was all about the wedding, Brittany's dress, the flowers, the guest list. No one asked Jennifer how she was doing. No one asked about Aiden. "Mom, are you okay?" Aiden asked, coming over with his backpack. Jennifer forced a smile. I'm okay. Grandma's just very excited about the wedding. I'm excited about the chocolate fountain, Aiden said with a grin. Aunt Brittany said it's gonna be huge. Jennifer laughed softly. His joy made her feel a little better. No matter what happened, Aiden was her sunshine in the middle of all this cold. Time to go, she said. Grab your coat. After he left the kitchen, she picked up her phone again. A message from Brittany lit up the screen. I'm working on the seating arrangements. Can Aiden behave properly? Should we seat him toward the back? Jennifer stared at the message, her heart sinking again. She put the phone down and took a deep breath. The next few weeks were going to be very, very long. The wedding party was lively. Laughter and music filled the room as everyone waited for the cake cutting. Then the music stopped, and the room grew quiet. The master of ceremonies, MC, stepped up to the microphone with a card in his hand. Before we cut the cake, the MC said, the bride and groom have prepared something special. Jennifer Brown, sitting at a table with her son Aiden, took a small sip from her wine glass. She figured this special something was just a song or speech by one of Robert's friends or family. Then the MC read the card out loud. Now, let's welcome a very special guest to the stage, Aiden Brown, a boy with an unknown father. The words hit the room like a slap. Jennifer's wine glass slipped from her hand and spilled onto the white tablecloth, leaving a bright red stain. The hall fell silent. Then came nervous giggles from some guests. Aiden Brown, where are you? The MC continued, sounding confused as he looked around. Come on up. Aiden sat frozen, his face turning bright red, his eyes filled with tears, and his small shoulders began to shake. Jennifer felt as if the whole world had stopped. Her heart was pounding, and her body shook with anger and shame. She looked toward the head table. Brittany, her younger sister and the bride, was smiling and clapping her hands like it was the funniest thing she had ever seen. Their mother, Martha, sipped her wine and said to the woman next to her, humor is so important at weddings, don't you think? A little fun makes the day memorable. Jennifer stood up. Her hands were trembling, but her voice stayed calm. Aiden, we're going home. But Mom, Aiden whispered, tears in his eyes. Suddenly, another voice rang through the room, strong and serious. Wait, please don't go. Everyone turned. Robert Carter, the groom, was standing with a microphone in his hand. Brittany's smile disappeared, and the room fell silent again. I need to say something important, Robert said. He reached into his pocket and pulled out an envelope. Jennifer stayed standing with one hand on Aiden's shoulder, confused and wary. Robert opened the envelope slowly. I want to talk about Aiden Brown, he said, and I want you all to listen. Brittany stood up suddenly. Robert, what are you doing? He raised a hand to stop her. Please sit down. Then he pulled out some papers. These are legal documents. They say I'm officially taking responsibility for Aiden Brown. I want to be his legal guardian. I've created a trust fund for his education, and I'm giving him my last name. The room filled with gasps and whispers. All eyes were on Robert, then Jennifer, and then on young Aiden. He is not a boy without a father anymore, Robert said clearly. From today, I want him to be my son. Brittany's face turned pale, her mouth opened but no words came out. Martha looked like she couldn't believe what she was hearing. What are you saying? Brittany shouted. This is a joke, right? You're embarrassing me. This is not a joke, Robert said calmly. He walked away from the main table and toward Jennifer and Aiden. The entire hall watched in stunned silence. When he reached their table, he knelt down in front of Aiden. Aiden, I want to welcome you as my son, only if your mother agrees. His voice was kind and sincere. Aiden looked at his mother in confusion. Jennifer was equally surprised. She didn't even know Robert well. Why was he doing this? What is going on? Jennifer asked softly. Why are you doing this? Robert stood up and looked straight at her. I have my reasons, and I'll explain them to everyone right now. He turned back to the crowd and spoke into the microphone. I grew up without a father too. Now the room was completely silent again. When I was 12, my mother raised me alone. We were poor, and people treated us badly. I remember once at a party, someone made fun of me and called me the boy without a dad. I never forgot that feeling. He paused, his voice filled with emotion. When I met Aiden at a basketball tournament, I saw myself in him. He reminded me of my younger self. I knew I had to help. Family isn't just about blood. family is about love and choice. People began to wipe tears from their eyes. Even the guests who had laughed earlier looked ashamed. I want Aiden to have a better future, Robert continued. I want him to have support, pride, and a name he can carry with honor. He held up the documents. This is a promise, to protect him and give him everything I wish I had at his age. At that moment, Brittany stood up, her face red with rage. She stormed out of the hall, heels clicking loudly. Martha chased after her, calling her name, but no one else moved. Then, soft applause began, then louder. People stood and clapped. Aiden looked up at Robert, confused but hopeful. Jennifer wrapped her arms around her son. Her heart felt like it was breaking and healing all at once. Robert turned to her again. Can we talk for a moment? He asked quietly. Jennifer hesitated, then nodded. Aiden, wait here, I'll be right back. But Mom. It's okay, sweetheart, I'll only be a few minutes. Robert led Jennifer to a quiet room at the back of the venue. It had soft couches and tall windows where the evening sky peeked in. Jennifer crossed her arms and stared at him. I want answers. What is this all about? Is it some kind of show? Robert took a deep breath. No, I'm truly sorry for what happened to Aiden out there. Brittany wrote that script. I found out just this morning. I was horrified. Jennifer looked at the documents in his hand. And these? They're real, he said. I want to help Aiden. I want to be someone he can count on. Why would you help a boy you don't even know? I do know him, in a way, Robert explained. I coach his school's basketball team sometimes. I've talked with him at games. He's smart, talented, and kind. Jennifer's eyes softened. She rarely had time to go to Aiden's games because of her long night shifts. His smile reminds me of myself at that age, Robert said quietly, back when I needed someone and no one came. Jennifer's voice trembled. Aiden's a special child. I know, Robert nodded, and I want to help him feel proud, not ashamed. Tears filled Jennifer's eyes. I couldn't protect him today. You've done more than enough, Robert said gently. Aiden is who he is because of you. But what about Brittany? She's your fiancée. Robert sighed. After today, I don't think we'll be getting married. She showed me who she really is. Jennifer looked away. Why are you really doing this? What do you get from it? Nothing, Robert said. Only peace. I couldn't help myself back then, but I can help now. A quiet knock came at the door. It opened slowly, and Aiden peeked in. Can I come in? He asked. Jennifer opened her arms. Of course, sweetheart. Aiden sat beside his mother. Everyone was staring at me, he whispered. How did that feel? Robert asked softly. I was scared, but now I feel different. I don't know. Robert looked at him with kind eyes. I want to help you. You won't have to worry about school costs or forms that ask about your father. I'll be there. Aiden's eyes widened. Really? But you have to promise me something, Robert added, smiling. What? Always take care of your mom. She's the strongest person I know. Aiden looked at Jennifer with love. Okay. Jennifer gently touched her son's hair. Her heart still had doubts, but she could see how much this meant to Aiden. This would just be a legal thing, right? She asked. Yes, Robert said. I'm not trying to replace anyone. I just want to offer support. I can come to games, help with homework, or just be there if you both need something, only if you allow it. Jennifer thought for a long moment. Aiden, what do you think? Aiden smiled. Robert always comes to my games, and he taught me to dribble better. I like him. Suddenly, the door burst open. Brittany stood there, furious. You've ruined everything, she screamed at Robert. My wedding is a disaster, and now you're trying to take my niece. Son, Jennifer corrected calmly. He's my son. Whatever, Brittany snapped. This is all a joke. Stop it and apologize. Robert stood up. It's not a joke. I just wanted to show what real family looks like. I can never show my face in this town again, Brittany shouted. There are more important things than gossip, Robert said firmly. Martha turned to Jennifer with cold eyes. This was your plan, wasn't it? Seduce Robert? Enough, Mom, Jennifer said tiredly. Not everything is my fault. Brittany stormed out of the room, and Martha followed. The room grew quiet again. Jennifer looked at her son. Aiden's eyes were full of hope, and for the first time in a long time, Jennifer felt something she hadn't felt in years, like maybe, just maybe, they were no longer alone.